Election Day. Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us for 12 News at 4. I'm Tram Mai.
I'm Rachel Cole in for Troy this afternoon. Arizona's top prosecutor tells 12 News she's investigating whether Donald Trump made a death threat at an event in Glendale against one of his toughest Republican critics.
12 News journalist Bram Resnick has more on what prompted the investigation and the Trump campaign's response. Bram?
Yeah, I spoke with Attorney General Chris Mays earlier today for this week's taping of Sunday Square Off. She was reacting to comments that Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump made last night to former Fox News host Tucker Carlson at an event in Glendale. Trump caused an uproar when he suggested that former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney, who endorsed his Democratic opponent Kamala Harris, should face rifles, quote, shooting at her to see how she feels about sending troops to fight. Mays told me that she asked her criminal division chief to review whether Trump's statement qualifies as a death threat under Arizona's laws.
The fact, though, that he would come to Arizona and make a statement like that against Liz Cheney, who has been speaking out against him and exercising her free speech, I think is just not helpful. It's deeply troubling.
Jail for 10 years with no
The Trump campaign responded that May's investigation was, quote, a desperate attempt to help out Kamala Harris's failing campaign. You can watch my full interview with Chris Mays at 8 a.m. Sunday on Sunday Square Off's hour-long pre-election special. Coming up at 6, what a freedom of speech expert said.
All right, guys, so we got to continue our coverage of the latest fake outrage from the Democrats, which is them boohoo whining and crying about Trump, talking about Liz Cheney being a warmonger and how she, as a warmonger, doesn't have any experience fighting wars, which is why she's so comfortable sending young American men off to die in a war that really doesn't benefit the American people. Okay, it might benefit American corporations and our multinational interests, but definitely not the American people. And Trump made this point in a way that really hurt the feelings of some people in the mainstream liberal media. And they came out and started saying that Trump was calling for the execution of Liz Cheney, which he did not. Okay, no reasonable person would interpret it that way. However, that does not stop Democrats from trying to throw Trump in jail for political speech, okay, which is what Arizona attorney Chris Mays is currently trying to do, because apparently she is probing Trump's Liz Cheney comments. And this is the same person who was caught dancing at a Kamala Harris rally just a couple days ago, right? So what you have here is a partisan attorney general weaponizing her office in order to try to lock up her political opponent, right? That's what you have here. This has now become commonplace among Democrats, the same people who boohoo, whine, and cry about Trump becoming president and locking up Democrats. You currently have Democrats that are trying to do that to Trump, okay? They're trying to do that right now, and they're finding any small reason or excuse to try to go after Trump, including for free speech, okay? So with that being said, you do have some liberals that do have some common sense who aren't so Trump deranged that they're going to engage in fake outrage that really discredits the media and their credibility over these comments from Trump. Like, for example, Bill Maher, who called out the liberal media and the Democrats over their fake outrage because everybody knows that Trump did not threaten Liz Cheney. Take a look.
What do you make of the statement? I woke up today to the headline that Trump had called for a firing squad for Liz Cheney. And this is what I really don't like about the media. No, he didn't. He did not. You don't have to move me to not like Donald Trump.
He says
more
so
than
many
I already,
shitty things. Why do you have to do that?
And by the way, if you don't realize it, here's what he said. He's criticizing her for being a war hawk. Yeah. I mean, she is Dick Cheney's daughter. He said, she's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay. Let's see how she feels about it. You know, they're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, we'll send tens of thousands of troops right into the mouth of the enemy. Now, of course, he expresses himself horribly. He has to add she's a stupid person because he's a moron.
Well, Trump knows what it's really like from Vietnam.
Okay. But just to be clear, this is exactly what hippies always said. This is exactly what peaceniks always said. This is Fortunate Son, the song. It's like, you know what? It's very easy to sit in your building and send young men to die. Apropos of Ukraine.
Yes.
Because, I don't know, that war doesn't look like it's going in the right direction.
Not at all, no.
But just so, you know, just don't lie to me. I don't like Donald Trump. Don't lie to me and tell me he wants in front of a firing squad. He was saying something that, by the way, if it came out of the mouth, some of it, not the stupid part, again, sounds like what hippies used to say about
Bill,
not sending people to, yes.
I agree with you on the lying. I mean, that is ridiculous and absurd and counterproductive. But when did Donald Trump ever criticize a war hawk the way a hippie did? I mean, was it during Vietnam? He got out of going to Vietnam, but he didn't criticize
I'm not
the war,
going to defend,
war.
Jamie,
Yeah.
I'm not defending Trump.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, don't lie to me.
I agree with that. I mean, that's just a distortion.
It's
But read what he really said.
It's counterproductive. I mean, the number of Trump people you talk to who talk about the media and giving them any ammunition like this. I mean, I saw headlines, chyrons on television this morning saying that Donald Trump had said that Kamala Harris should be executed. I mean, at the beginning of that kind of rambling, incoherent thing, she said, give her a weapon, which is not typically something you do to someone.
And again, the spirit of it is something that if someone with the blue hat said it, people would nod along on the left. Yes, exactly.
There's plenty of things he says that you don't have to invent them.
Can I just say one thing? And I agree with you. All those criticisms are fair. But there's been a lot of violence, as Nancy Pelosi knows, and a lot of threats.
Yeah. So Bill Maher is making a good point, right? In the sense that if somebody with a blue hat said this, everybody would just nod along and say, yeah. That makes sense, right? You're right. Okay, that is fair criticism. But because Trump said it, there's a whole bunch of fake outrage, okay? And what I find to be fascinating about that exchange is Jamie Ratkins, who is extremely Trump deranged, again, trying to make the conversation about Trump, trying to engage in, well, but Trump, something, right? When it's like, listen, you don't have to like Trump in order to criticize the Democrats and the media for fake outrage. And the clear and overt hypocrisy here of the fact that Democrats are allowed to get away with just saying whatever they want to say, that Republicans are not allowed to get away with, which, by the way, happened on Bill Maher's show, in which Jamie Ratkins basically said that, hey, they're only going to accept the results of the election if they feel like the election results are free and fair, which is no different than what Republicans have said when confronted by the mainstream liberal media on whether or not they're going to accept the election results no matter what. But I guarantee you, nobody is going to rage over Jamie Ratkins saying that, well, we'll only accept the outcome of the election if we feel like it's free and fair. Take a look.
When I say we will support a free and fair election, no, we're not going to allow them to steal it in the states or steal it at the Department of Justice or steal it with any other election official in the country. If it's a free and fair election, we will do what we've always done. We will honor it.
So, finally. Yeah. And that is the Democrats' history. They honor it. That is the big difference between the parties. One of the big. Okay, so.
And on that point, I'll tell you, the political scientists have told us the hallmark characteristics of a fascist political party. Number one, they don't accept the outcome of democratic elections that don't go their way.
Yeah.
Right? Number two, they embrace political violence as an instrument for obtaining power. And three, they're not organized democratically. They're organized top down as a cult of a personality around a charismatic or allegedly charismatic figure, right?
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, you know, they want to kick it to Congress, so it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means. And I'm glad that Sherilyn's creating her new center so we can bring that.
Yeah, so what I found to be fascinating about what Jamie Ratkin said is, once again, if a Republican was to say, we will only accept the outcome of the election, we will only accept the election results if we feel like it's free and fair, and we're not going to allow Democrats to steal the election from us, what do you think liberals would be saying? What do you think the media would be saying, right? The media would be saying, oh, well, this sounds like an election denier, right? You have to accept the outcome of the election no matter what. This is what they've asked Republicans repeatedly on television, right? About whether or not they would accept the election results. But when Democrats are asked about this, they say the exact same things that Republicans say about, well, we're only going to accept it if we feel like it's free and fair, and we're not going to allow the other side to steal it, right? We're going to challenge it in any way that we can. Oh, well, Republicans, when they say it, it's bad. When Democrats say it, they don't have anything to say about it, right? They just assume that Democrats have a right to contest the election and that they don't have to accept the outcome of the election if they don't feel like it's free and fair, right? Again, it's amazing how that works. One of the things that I am very fascinated to see is whether or not Democrats are going to try to challenge the election if Trump wins, right? If Trump wins, what are they going to do, right? Because I do not think that they're going to accept the outcome. I really don't. I personally believe that they are going to try to overturn the election results. Okay, and they're going to have their own little version of what happened on January 6th in the sense that you're going to have a bunch of Democrats come out and say, we don't want to certify the election results. That's what I believe the Democrats are going to do. So we will see. But with that being said, you do have some liberal media propagandists that are backing away from their claims that Trump tried to threaten Liz Cheney. Okay, like, for example, Jonah Goldberg, who went on CNN and essentially peddled this hoax that Trump was talking about using a firing squad against Liz Cheney. Take a look.
I don't think you even need to call it fired upon. He's saying quite explicitly and unambiguously that Liz Cheney should be shot, should be executed by firing squad. That is appalling. It is a small facet of the reasons why he's unfit for office, and the Republican Party has made a disastrous mistake renominating him. All that said, since we're here for the punditry, I don't know what this gets him, right? If his problem is freaking out suburban women who don't like the chaos, don't like the violent rhetoric and all that kind of stuff, that's just not a great closing argument. Let's execute a political opponent who happens to be a woman because I don't like her. And does that pull more low propensity voters in his coalition to the polls? I honestly don't think so.
So clearly this guy did not see the full clip in context. He just reacted to CNN's framing of what Trump said, and he ended up saying a bunch of stuff on national television that wasn't true. So now he has come out and given a statement in response to the fact that he's getting called out for claiming that Trump wanted Liz Cheney to be executed, right? He says, I need to make a statement. This morning on CNN, I referred to Trump's rifles, quote, as him advocating a firing squad for Liz Cheney. I was reacting in haste to what were objectively appalling and irresponsible comments that had been framed in the setup piece in the context of previous statements Trump made about shooting protesters and having generals executed. Things that, again, Trump has never said out loud. Again, these are all secondhand accusations. They don't have any proof or evidence that Trump said these things. But again, they just assume that Trump said all the things that the liberal media says that he says, although they don't have any evidence. Still, I was wrong to say he was calling for a firing squad execution after I said that my co-panelist Brad Todd made the case that I was wrong. Brad was right, and again, I was wrong. Trump was making a bite in his customary fashion, a different argument about Cheney's alleged foreign policy views and the use of force. I let my disgust at Trump's comments get the better of me, as this was the first time I'd heard them. In fact, at the end of the program, having thought about it, I said as much, though I could have been clearer, a fact that has been left out in a lot of the criticism of me since this morning. In other words, I voluntarily conceded the point unprompted before any of the subsequent criticism came my way. Yeah, so basically this guy is retracting what he said, okay? And now he's outright apologizing because people are saying, no, you need to apologize, right? But at the same time, this guy is Trump deranged. okay, claiming that he's been influenced by alleged past statements that Trump has made about Mark Milley and others, right? The enemy within thing. So again, this is what they do, right? They try to justify taking everything that Trump says out of context with other things that Trump has said, in which they've taken it out of context to mean something that is not, right? So they say, well, the totality of the things that Trump has said makes me think that anything that Trump says is a threat, right? When the reality is that all of the things that these people have fear-mongered about Trump saying in the past are also taken out of context. Also, again, the things that Trump has said behind closed doors, they're not backed up by any facts or evidence. It's he said, she said. There's no real proof that Trump said these things. So their Trump derangement is not based in reality, okay? And when you see the full context of what Trump says, all of a sudden these people are like, well, he didn't actually say that. So imagine if they applied that logic to all of the things that Trump allegedly said behind closed doors, right? Could you guys imagine the things that Trump actually said versus the things they're saying that he said when you actually see what Trump said in full context? So, you know, it's just funny to me how close to the election these people are now coming out and admitting that, yeah, we were wrong, right? When there are plenty of things they should have admitted even before these comments were made about taking Trump out of context. Like, for example, when it comes to the whole enemies from within thing, again, taken out of context. Trump never talked about using the military on the enemies within when talking about Democrats, right? Democrat politicians. But he did talk about it when it comes to violent, liberal, left-wing protesters who get mad when they don't get their way. That's a big difference. Trump never talked about the country having a bloodbath if Kamala Harris wins in a violent way. He was talking about an economic bloodbath. But again, Trump doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. They take it out of context and they spin it into something that is not. Same thing with the whole poison the blood thing. He's talking about illegal immigrants, criminals that have been released from these third world countries and sent to the United States of America. That is what he's talking about. So when you continue to just take everything Trump says out of context, of course you're going to look stupid. Of course you're going to ruin your own credibility when you do it too much to the point where any reasonable person can see that, okay, you guys are you're just making stuff up, right? You're literally putting words in the man's mouth. You're misinterpreting what he's saying on purpose. And yeah, it just makes you look bad, right? And that's what happened to the media. This whole Liz Cheney thing is backfiring in their faces, and it's really hilarious to see. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.